Okay, now I think we have it together now. So thank you all for your patience. Again, I am not the queen of Zoom, apparently. So again, welcome to 35 Hours of Giving. Uh, this is a giving campaign that is hosted by the Community Foundation here in the Capital Region. This is an opportunity for our agency fund holders to have a focus campaign on their endowment. This is going to take place on May 7th through the 8th, 2025. So we are going to talk a bit more about that. So I want to take you through the agenda for today. We'll do a brief welcome. We'll talk more about what 35 Hours of Giving is. We hosted this for the first time in 2023, so we'll talk about the results from our first time doing this. We'll talk about the plan of what this campaign looks like. We'll talk about the Community Foundation support, and then we'll follow up with the role of you as the participant. So welcome. My name is Latoya Turner. I am the Community Investment Associate here at the Capital Region Community Foundation. I am a part of the community investment team, so I participate with the grant making. I am very involved in our outreach, and I am also the Youth Advisory Council advisor. And I'm going to let my colleagues that are online introduce themselves.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am Jessica Donahue. I am the Director of Communications and Events here at the Community Foundation. And so I am spearheading this along with Latoya, um, and also with our other coworker, Cindy, for her to pop in and introduce herself.
Hi, sorry, I'm officially multitasking. I'm Cindy Hales. I'm the Vice President of Community Investment here at the Community Foundation, and I am here for moral support. So nice to have you all join us.
Thank you, Cindy, and thank you, Jessica. So let's talk about 35 Hours of Giving. This is not something that the Community Foundation just thought of on a whim one day. In our communication with various community foundations throughout the state of Michigan, we heard about this idea of supporting agency fund holders with an endowment campaign. And so after speaking with a couple folks from community foundations around Mount Pleasant and Midland and hearing about the success that they had with this giving campaign, we decided to jump on board and say, hey, if it's not broken, let's not fix it. So we want to bring this to our agency fund holders as another additional support from us as a community foundation. So if you participated in this last year or in 2023, you would remember that we utilized a giving platform called GiveGab. Well, that was bought out by Bonterra Giving Days. So this company provides back of house support services for online campaigns. So many of you may have a team of people that run the processing of your online donations and gifts in your websites, but this campaign and this platform, Bonterra, will do all of that for us in this 35 hours of giving. So they support us with things like the actual processing of the online gifts. They'll provide the website that our donors can go to or your donors can go to make their gifts. They'll provide many print templates and social media posts and just various resources to help support this giving campaign. So it's an excellent source for us in this endeavor. And we've done a lot of research and looked at various companies. And this one was a very user-friendly platform. So why do we think this is important? Well, one of the things that we learned from COVID was that it was a very challenging time, especially in fundraising. And having an endowment is great. You get your funds on a regular basis, but to actually support you in those really rough times and a challenge like COVID did, we it gave us a new realization that we really need to put a renewed focus on building up those endowments. Because, of course, as you grow your endowment, so does your distribution grow. So we wanted to fix that need and help give you an opportunity to have dedicated time to think about focusing on your endowment. And besides, most times you're always thinking about fundraising for your operations and programming. So again, this is just a new renewed focus on specifically your endowment. So why 35 hours? Well, if you think about 24-hour giving campaigns, it kind of puts you back into like the 90s and the telethons, and 35 hours is a great time frame because it gives your donors 2 full business days to make their gift. So we will start at 7 a.m. on May 7th and end at 6 p.m. on May 8th. So that is officially 35 hours and 2 full business days. So it works pretty well for anyone that is participating and giving to this campaign. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Jessica to talk about the results from our 2023 giving campaign.
Thank you, Latoya. So what we have here is just a high-level overview of some of the analytics that came out of our first year in 2023. So we had 17 participating nonprofits our first year, but of those, we raised over $250,000. Now, that does include prize and matching fund dollars, which we'll talk about a little bit later, because those will be coming back for 25. But it was a super exciting time for us. And you can see too, it's pretty interesting that of those dollars, we only raised 73,000 online and 177 were offline gifts. So those are people who came in and delivered a check or, well, really, yeah, did that or mailed it in early, which is another option we'll talk about later. And 2 of those organizations received one individual gift of $50,000 each. So some pretty big numbers for our first year, especially too when you think about how many donors there were. So 536 individual, 586 total donations. And it wasn't even just local donations coming in. It came from 19 different states. And we should have prefaced with this earlier, but you will get a copy of all these slides, so feel free to relax and not have to rush and take notes or feel like you're missing anything there. But I am going to now switch off the slides real quick and just share what our 2023 website looks like for you. Give me a second here to do that. All right. So now you should all see my screen, which shows what the 35 Hours of Giving website looks like. Excuse me, because I'm going to look like I'm looking to the side, but it's just a different monitor. But so here is our website, which is still currently live at 35hours.ourcommunity.org. But it shows all the results, once again, from 2023, all of our participants, and just kind of gives you a glimpse into what the website looks like. This is what donors will see. This is what you'll see if you decide to participate once we are live. One of the fun things about it is that instead of these outcomes and results right here, when it is live, it is a live updating ticker. So you don't even have to refresh the page, but you can see donations as they come in. And it's very exciting. A couple of us were very glued to our screens those 2 days that this was live last year. But so on this website, I'm only going to hit a couple points right now, and I do encourage you all to take a look around it on your own time. But you'll see right at the top navigation, we have a search bar, which donors can use to search for organizations. They can search for a cause, all things like that. We have prizes, which I briefly mentioned earlier, leaderboards, and then a fuller menu. And so I'll just take you across that menu real quick. But this is our prizes page. It explains, here's where you could see where we had the matching funds. And then we did have 11, I believe, $500 prizes that could be won, just additional incentives for different organizations. One of them being the first online gift. Whoever had the first online gift once our online donations went open last year won $500 for that organization's endowment fund. So these are some things spread out throughout the 35 hours to kind of keep the momentum going. We found that a lot of donors and a lot of nonprofits took advantage of this. And you'll see too that a lot of the winners aren't very repetitive. So it was a great way to get just some additional dollars out to across the board of our participants. Yeah, so that's a cool page to check out. Next, we have leaderboards, which is up the whole time that online donations are open as well. And it's currently sorted by amount raised. So you can see that in our first year, every single organization at least raised over $1,000 for their endowment. These totals do include any prizes and matching funds at the end, but we were still very pleased with that. And it also has a breakdown of how many individual donors each organization had. And so even when you look at number 1, Impression 5 Science Center, and compare it to number 4, Reach Studio Art Center, you see that they had a vast amount of a difference with how many donors they had. And so with Impression 5, they were one of those organizations that received a single $50,000 gift. They chose a different strategy of how to engage their donors, and they went for more of their major donors, whereas Reach, they know their donors and they know they give smaller amounts, but they have so many of them. They went with that strategy. And so it's just a very interesting analytic to point out. And it just goes to show there's no one right way to do it. You have options, and yeah, and that's something that will help and walk you through it too, but we'll also get to that later. I'm giving a lot of sneak peeks. But then on the menu, you can go back to home, you can see prizes, leaderboards. We even have an FAQ there, which is geared towards donors, but it does explain more of the back-end processing and things like that and how things will work. And we do also have a nonprofit toolkit, which should you choose to participate, this is a really great resource that has a lot of templates and things like that. Different dates that you need to keep in mind, training sessions, little guides on how to build your board support, activate peer-to-peer fundraising, things like that, along with literally just some templated social media posts, graphics, email content, things like that. So we try to make it very easy for you guys. And yeah, that's really all I wanted to touch on our website. So I will leave it to Latoya to pull up the PowerPoint again, but I do encourage you guys to check that out. But don't just take my word, because next we have a few words from a kickoff breakfast that we did last year from our participants. And so we're going to show that video now.
Thank you for bearing with us.
35 hours of giving is really important for our organization because it focuses on our endowment. Once something goes into our endowment, that builds up and forever will be there to help sustain the organization.
There are always going to be projects that are larger. Sometimes, you need to renovate the building that you're in, or there are special projects that you want to do in the community that you can see are going to have a big impact. Having an endowment is one way to know that you're going to have the capital for your organization to be able to do those larger projects.
If you donate to one of the nonprofits during 35 hours of giving, you'll get a lot of leverage on your contributions.
Donating to 35 hours of giving, there's so many incredible organizations to support in our community, and they've consolidated them on the Community Foundation's page. So you can look and see what story resonates with you. It's a promise to commit to our community and developing these nonprofits that are working so hard every day, and just brings it back to our community as a way to give back.
Okay, now we're back on task. All right, so you heard a little bit from some of the participants that participated in 2023. So that was from the breakfast that happened in April. So I'm going to give you an idea of the plan and what the timeline looks like for this endowment campaign. So right now we're giving you the information, letting you know that this campaign is taking place May 7th and 8th. So we highly encourage you to mark your calendars for those dates. And this is a great time to start talking to your team about if this is something that your organization wants to participate in. The registration with Bonterra, which is the company that runs the platform for the 35 hours of giving, registration opens in late January and will close in early February. So once registration is completed and we know what organizations are participating, then later in February, you can start creating your profile, as well as you'll have access to watch past webinars and recordings. Then late in February, there will be trainings hosted by Bonterra, just to give you a getting started type of training to understand the platform and all the resources that are available. They'll take you through the templates and how to utilize those. And then in March, there will be a second training, or a second and maybe third training hosted by Bonterra, just to give more details and maybe some successful tips to help you in your giving campaign. As you noticed when Jessica was going through the leaderboards, you saw that there were some agencies that had a handful of donors that gave to their platform, and then there were some organizations that had a lot of donors. And that happened in a couple different ways. There is an opportunity to have volunteers or others in your organizations host their own page and giving platform that will go into your endowment. So that's something that would be shown in a training. In April, again, is when we have our kickoff breakfast, and that is a great time to talk to other participants about how they are doing their profiles or their pages, and it's a kickoff to what's coming in May. So as you saw from the video, everyone comes together, and there'll be some words by Cindy, and there'll be some shared information at the kickoff as well. And that is also starting off our mail-in donations, which Jessica will talk a little bit more later. And then again, the event kicks off May 7th and 8th. So that is the time that we're really focusing on for those 35 hours.
So with that early mail-in, we have a typo in there, but we are actually accepting mailing gifts 2 weeks in advance of the event, beginning April 23rd. I know that says 1 week, but we'll fix that before we send it out. But so starting April 23rd, we have a whole mail-in donation form, which you can find on the 35 Hours website currently still. But it's to give an opportunity for those major donors who might want to donate but need to exchange cash in some stock first, or they want to pull something out of an IRA, things like that. So it's to give that leeway so they can get those processes initiated, besides having to fit things into that 35-hour period. And so we accept those, and they must be postmarked the 23rd if it's a mailed check, for instance, through May 8th to be included as part of the event and count for matching funds and any prizes. Now, with gift processing from there, as Latoya mentioned earlier, Bonterra does process all the gifts that come in through the platform. However, receipting and acknowledgement will be completed by us here at the foundation, since it will be going right into your endowment funds here. So you don't have to worry about that, but you can customize your own thank you as part of that receipting that goes out. Because once everyone completes an online donation, they immediately receive an email receipt that includes some thank yous, one from us, and if you so choose to customize it, one from you too. And you have full control over that messaging when you're setting up your profile on the back end. And then donors. You can see who your donors are in real time. You will also be able to see them on the back end and all of the donations that came in for your organization there, which is more detailed than what you would see on a leaderboard. Similar to one I showed you earlier, but not the same. But after the event, you will receive a full list of everyone who donated outside of anonymous donors. It'll just show the gift as anonymous. And you can follow up as you wish. These are your donors, so we do not do anything with them from our end. We do not solicit them. We don't keep them. We just do mass gifts on our ends into your endowments, and you can cultivate those donors as you wish. So yeah, that's really the process there.
Great. So one thing that the Community Foundation will do in preparation for this event is seek out matching funds. So we'll get up to about $35,000 in matching funds that we've solicited ourselves, and that will be distributed amongst the participating organization, and it's capped at 10% per organization. So that way it kind of balances out for those that have extremely large donation compared to those that don't have as much raised. And then for incentives, as Jessica had spoke about before, there will be 10 $500 incentives available. And these are distributed based on who meets the requirements of the prize. So one of them were the ones that were first to get a donation right at 7 a.m. on May 7th, or there will be several others that we saw in the previous slide. So there are other opportunities to receive additional funds besides that, those matching funds.
All right. And as I mentioned before, especially when I showed you all the nonprofit toolkit on the website, we are here to support you. So me, Latoya, and Cindy, we will be your main contacts here at the Community Foundation for different aspects, but we will be providing personal assistance the whole way, whether you want to just bounce ideas off us, strategize a little bit, think things through, just anything that can help with your preparation, how you might go about soliciting some of your donors, or how you might want to recruit volunteers or your board members to get on board, things like that, as well as marketing. So if you want some help with your messaging, just let us know. We're here to help you every step of the way.
Yes. So what does this mean for you? That means, one, this is a commitment. If you've ever run a campaign, you know it has been in depth and has taken a team effort. So you want to start talking about this campaign with your staff, with your board members, and anyone that is dedicated to seeing you succeed. You want to start trying to buy the commitment from them now so that you can have a successful campaign. It takes engagement. So you have to really dedicate some time and energize your donors and the community to support your organization. And again, this is a collaborative effort. So we are here at the Community Foundation to support you. And if you need help, as Jessica was saying, we can provide any ideas that we can come up with. So you really want to focus on engagement with your donors and the community. And then enthusiasm. You know, this is a great opportunity to build your endowment, and that is going to continue to help sustain your organization for years to come. So that's exciting because, again, this is outside of your programming and operational efforts that you do on a regular basis. This is going to be some dedicated time. So we should be super enthusiastic about focusing on endowment. So next is the work. What does this actually mean to participate in this? So as a participant, you will be provided templates to design your own page to share with your donors about your organization and your mission. You will create and fill out a profile page. You'll promote your involvement in the campaign. So you will want to share that amongst social media and other outlets. You want to continuously communicate with donors, newsletters, emails, letters, phone calls, whatever way is best and works well for you. That's how you want to communicate with your donors. You want to gather and coordinate with other volunteers. And again, there are peer-to-peer fundraising pages. So there will be trainings on how someone else can set up a page and solicit folks in their circles to support your organization in this campaign. And again, your own participation to make this campaign a success is what it takes to get it done. So outside of that, Jessica can speak to what we'll do as a foundation.
Yeah, so to be a little bit more specific in how we will support you, some of those templates that Latoya mentioned right at the beginning about customizing, those are templates that I mentioned earlier that we will provide to you. Obviously, they'll be very blanket, so you'll want to put in your own mission, your own name, your own details, put it in your own tone, your own voice, you know. But we will provide templates for emails, letters, social media, copy, and graphics. We even have scripts for phone calls on there, things like that. But you do want to make it your own. And we will be providing workshops and trainings. We'll have one on peer-to-peer fundraising. We'll have another one on about how to talk about endowment, because that can be hard, and getting people to understand it. So that will be one involved in this. And then the third one we have not decided yet, but we will have more. We'll be here to answer any technical questions you have. If you have any issues, just formatting the HTML on your profile, if it comes down to it, or maybe a button just isn't working right for you, we can help with that. We'll provide a timeline and different deadlines to set you up for success along the way. So we'll have a whole calendar that we'll send to you in advance that includes, like, you should have your profile done by this date. And then you can make some changes afterwards, you know, as you go along. But really, your first, almost final draft should be done in advance, and so on and so forth. We will be soliciting for the matching and prize funds. So we will have 35,000 in matching funds, and we will have the 5,000 for the prizes. That's nothing you guys have to worry about. It's just money that will be distributed to those who earn it. We'll also periodically offer some virtual office hours, which we found were very helpful last year, but then you don't have to set aside a designated time to meet with us if you don't want to. And we will be there to answer any questions or just any general soundboarding of ideas you want to do. And then we will also provide a full schedule for what we will be promoting because we will be promoting the event as a whole. We won't be promoting individual organizations, but just 35 hours as a whole and for our donors to go and look at who is participating. So we found that with some participants last year, they appreciated being able to just share some of that, especially the post on social media, and then make it their own with that share. So that is a deeper dive into how we'll be supporting you guys with this work.
Thank you, Jessica. So I just want to end with, it might sound like a lot of information and a lot going on initially, but as you talk it over with your team and decide to whether or not you want to get on board, which I highly suggest you do, you will find that this again is a really collaborative effort. We want you to succeed and we're here for you. The platform is a lot easier to use than it may sound. It's very user friendly, friendlier than Zoom for me. And again, there are so many ways to get your team and volunteers to support this endeavor. So we're here for you in full capacity. So with that, I will open it up for anyone that may have questions. You can feel free to unmute. Anyone have any questions?
Latoya, Sue from the IQ Hub. I have a question.
Hi, Sue.
Hi, thank you for the invitation today. Well done. It was a lot of great information for us. So we are not yet set up with an endowment. So just help me with the timeline. And you guys may have sent me this information, but how long does it take to establish an endowment? And can we still make this January, February timeline?
Great question. And Cindy should be on and may be able to answer that.
Hi, Sue.
Hi.
The process of establishing an endowment is pretty easy on our end. Actually, the time typically happens on the organizational end, right? But if you have been moving forward with this conversation in your organization already, so I'm going to just stop for 1 second. Can you stop sharing, Latoya, so we can, there we go. Thank you. Just good to see people. So if you've been thinking about doing that and your organization has moved forward, you're pretty much ready to make that commitment. It's really a matter of sitting down with our donor services folks and hammering out the actual fund agreement for your agency fund. It's $10,000 to open the fund, and that would be the amount that would need to be in the fund to be able to participate in that process. So, it depends on where you are as an organization, but we did have 2 organizations when we did this last year move pretty quickly towards getting their endowment set up so they could participate. One had been talking about it for a long time, and the other one convened an emergency board meeting, like, we need to do this. So it absolutely can be done.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions?
Hi, sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead, Meredith.
Hi, I'm Meredith from the Reading People. I was just curious if you've already had nonprofits sign up for this year's 35 hours of giving, or if you have a projection of how many you're expecting to see.
We have had organizations sign up already. This is the second information session that we've done, and we did have a number of people from the first session raise their hand. I think all of them participated last time, and so they know the energy and the fun and the opportunity to raise some serious money for your endowment. So the answer to that is yes. We had 17 participating organizations last time. Is that right, Jessica? Yeah, 17. And our philosophy about this is to keep it what I would consider manageable, right? So we only invite people who have agency endowments at the Community Foundation. All of the funds that are raised go into your Community Foundation agency endowment. And so it's a limited invitation. I think there's 150 or so agency endowment funds. Our goal is to try to keep this like in the 20, 25, 30 range, because we feel like that's something our team can manage on our end. So that's kind of what we're hoping for this year, is to have maybe another 8 or 10 sign up.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to have the reading people join us.
Any other questions? Okay.
All right, let me give a pep talk before we disconnect here. So, thank you to everybody for participating today. As Latoya said, it can seem really overwhelming, but I would invite you, if you're sort of on the fence about this, to contact any one of the three of us and ask maybe for some folks that you could talk to that participated last time. I do not believe there are any repeated folks on this call. I'm not sure who the telephone is, but we had several of them come to the first information session, and it was really helpful to sort of hear of their experiences. They were really our guinea pigs. We were very grateful for them for raising their hand and saying, yeah, we'll see if this thing works. And clearly it works. So I would invite you to do that so that you can get some really good, honest feedback from folks that were boots on the ground with this process. The other thing that I would just say really quickly is that we are partnering with the team at Bonterra because they have the platform to do this and to do it efficiently. When I sort of pitched the idea of all the gifts coming to the Community Foundation and being processed, I was threatened with bodily harm by our CFO because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of gifts. So we really value that. We value the templates that they provide. We value that they do this all over the country, and so they know how this works. But what I would say is that I think what really made us successful is the level of commitment that the Community Foundation has in making sure that you are all successful, which is another reason for sort of managing the numbers, but also why it is that we have, marketing and tech people like Jessica that can answer your questions about why your picture on your webpage doesn't look good. And I, for one, can't help you with that. And well, you've seen Latoya run Zoom, so I'm just so all that to say, we all have our skills, and Latoya's is around brainstorming and creativity. But Jessica's your go-to tech and marketing person. So, and I don't know, I'm just here. So we really are here as a team of people to help you be successful, and I want to leave you with that. So, and Sue, if you have questions or want to get connected to talk to somebody about a fund agreement, we can certainly get the ball rolling on that so you don't feel like you're doing it all last minute.
All right. Well, then I think with that, we'll say thank you all for joining in this info session. As Cindy mentioned, we can connect you with some former participants if you would like to hear their experience. And yeah, if you have any further questions, reach out to myself, Jessica, or Cindy, and we are here for you. So everyone have a great day.